When my fiance and I first started to plan our wedding, we had two main concerns that had come up as we saw loved ones around us get married before. They were firstly the expense, and secondly, how easy it can be to lose sight of what we were doing and why we were getting married in all of the details, especially with social media and all of the other things out there that tell you what a wedding should be. So we decided to main rules for ourselves. One, we would have a budget and we would try to stick to it as much as possible and think about the budget as a positive thing, as a limitation that helped us be creative and focus on the things that matter. And two, since we are both very crafty people and love making things, but we wanted to make sure we enjoyed the wedding planning and didn't get too stressed, we would keep the DIYs to a minimum. Now, I will say the budgeting surprisingly went really well. We didn't struggle with it that much. Once we set down guidelines, we were able to do a really good job with it, and I think it actually helped us really filter out what we needed versus what was just something that looked like it would be great, but in execution wouldn't actually mean that much in the long run. However, with the DIYing, we failed on that front a little bit. Originally, we weren't going to do anything ourselves, but while we were trying to keep a budget and saw other ideas, we started with a small thing, place cards, and that spiraled into so much more. Once we opened that door, it was so very hard to shut it for both of us. But ultimately, we made some really beautiful things that are going to look so wonderful on our wedding day. The one thing I told myself from the beginning I would not do is create my own jewelry, but here we are now. I just had a hard time finding something that I really liked. So now, like a month away from the wedding, I decided to go all in and make my own necklace. And that's what this video is about. So why don't we go ahead and get started? So I actually was going to start organizing all my beads, my pattern, and designing and everything, but I wanted to get outside for a minute real quick, so I went to get the mail, and my mom was the one who was originally going to make this necklace for me, but things got really busy with Christmas and she was unable to, and I think she felt a little bit guilty because in my mail today I have more silk. Because she was worried that I wouldn't have enough. There aren't a lot of bead stores within like 20 to 30 minutes of me. Pretty much everything nearby that would have silk is closer to 40 minutes. And she has one right down the street. So she went out and got some, not just one, not two, not three, but 4 packets for me. That's really sweet. So I guess I will definitely not be running out anytime soon, and I might need to start just making pearl necklaces for people specifically with green silk for the next while because I mean, as you can see, I have maybe a bit much here, but you know, it's always better to have more than you need, I guess. I just thought I would show that before I move forward and actually design anything. All right. Let's get started. So let's talk design. My fiance and I decided that we wanted to have a cohesive color scheme for just the two of us, ivory and dark green. For him, we picked out an ivory barong, and the thread of the embroidery on it will be a dark hunter green. And for me, my dress will be ivory, and I'm bringing that dark green into my jewelry. I already made a headband, which I show a little bit later on in the video. And then now, for my necklace, I'm going to be using primarily pearls that have been bleached white and dark green crystal beads as that just hint of an accent to make things look a little bit more cohesive between the two of us in photos. I am going to do 2 strands. I did just want to do one at first, but I found these really beautiful clasps that are shaped like a rose and therefore a dual strand. And I knew I just had to have them because we're getting married at the Rose Court Garden at the Disneyland Hotel. It just felt like fate. For the design principles, I'm trying to orient everything around the number 7, but we'll see where we go from there. So overall, my design things for this necklace are white, green, 7, and we'll see where we get from there. Things might need to change a little bit as we go. Can I help you?
Whoa, it's crazy. You even pulled out the primer filler.
Do you not want me to go to work? Yeah? So I was having quite a few issues with having so many of these on the back and figuring out like how many knots I wanted between, and even with how many I settled on here. They still slip a little bit, but I think that's okay. I'm not super worried about these gold beads touching my pearls as much because they are so light and small. I'm more concerned about my pearls rubbing up against each other, right? That's why we put the knots there, is to protect the pearls from each other because they're so soft. So I am pretty satisfied with it just being kind of, a little bit too small for this hole. I think that'll be good. Um, and I just decided, instead of messing with this as much while I'm still just getting in the groove of everything, I would go ahead and start with the inner strand of pearls that's mostly just pearls and very little of these. So I went forward with that. Let's see if I can get it to focus a little bit. And I did kind of my first segment. You can definitely tell that I was a little uncertain about my tweezers earlier on, and I'm getting a lot more sure about myself again down here. Again, I'm okay with this. Part of why I'm making stuff on my own is because I want it to look handmade. I want it to be a memento of something that I made for myself for this time in my life. I'm okay with some imperfections here. As long as the whole thing doesn't look like badly made, we're in good shape. So now that I kind of have an understanding, and even though I designed on the board, right, I am still kind of redesigning as I go, figuring out what I like and what I don't like. I'm gonna move forward with the rest of the pearls for my next segment. We're about a little bit less than a quarter of the way done with this first strand of pearls. So I'm just going to continue on with mostly pearls. Some of these green bits in between. The knotting here is not super great because I did a single knot and then did a double knot on top of it right here. Again, I'm okay with that because, again, this is for me. That's not for anybody else, and I don't want perfection. And then I did something a lot cleaner on this one by doing a triple knot. And that's probably what I'm going to do moving forward for all of these gold and green bits, is a triple knot on either end. This is going to be towards the back of the pearls anyway, so people aren't going to be coming up to my neck and magnifying it and looking specifically at my knots. So I am not that concerned. So this is the first strand finished. And it's mostly pearls. The other one is going to have a lot more of the green mixed in. And this is the shorter one out of the strands. I'm definitely probably going to need to use some chain on the back, which I'm okay with. I kind of already planned on that. But yeah, here we go. Kind of a choker length strand here. I think ultimately, let me measure real quick. see how long I made this inch-wise. It's about 15 inches. A little bit more, actually. Almost 15.25 inches. And then with the bead tips and clasp, it might be closer to almost 16 inches long. So that's why I'm thinking of adding just a little bit of chain on the end for length. And for the second strand, I want it to be quite a bit longer, I think. Not quite a bit, but I do want it to be longer than this one when it's beaded. So I'm thinking I might bead it until maybe about 16.5 to 17 inches. And that will be the second strand. Yeah, I think that works. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so let's get started with next steps. Oops, I'm completely out of frame, aren't I? Oops. My issue. I ended up finishing the stringing of the remainder of this necklace off camera. It was just kind of hard to get a good shot of it, and to be perfectly honest, I did this very last minute and things got down to the wire. I needed it finished for my very last dress fitting before I picked up my dress, and yeah, time got away from me, so I didn't have a lot of time to do the shooting of everything. But as you can see here, I'm finishing up the hardware. And I actually, to be honest, to be totally and truthfully honest, I am finishing up doing this hardware literally 30 minutes before my very last appointment to pick up my dress. So talk about coming down to the wire, but all I'm doing here is attaching some jump hoops to the chain and other hardware that I've already attached to the beaded strands, and then hooking that onto my double stranded clasp. So I'm going to go ahead and let you see the finishing up of this, and then we're going to hop over to a very, very special appointment.
Oh my gosh. The dress didn't look this big in the store. I don't know how we're gonna drive down with this. Oh.
And here is the finished piece. I am so unbelievably happy with it. I think this is one of the best necklaces I've ever made. The color scheme looks absolutely stunning. The pearls, I'm so happy I went with a more natural shape. I feel like it just fits my aesthetic really well. And the dark green crystal beads break up the necklace so beautifully when the sunlight hits it. Absolutely stunning. I am so happy, and I can't wait to wear this piece again and again in the future. And I will. You know I will. This will be probably one of my favorites for a while. So thank you again for coming with me on this journey as I go ahead and bead my wedding necklace. I hope you all had a wonderful time watching this, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!